Yeah, that's true. I've been going to a gym for 7 years now. I started in the fitness center when I was 11 years old. I've sure come a long way and make a lot of progress. But in that time I've also made tons and tons of mistakes that I want to share with you in this video so you can avoid them. I'm gonna compress 7 years of fitness advice into this one video. But firstly, did you know that you could accelerate your progress in any area of life if you were with a tribe with same interests as you? That way you can be held accountable, get help from others and share your wins. That's why I just launched my Discord gym server. You can join right now for $0. Click the links in the description. Brutal fitness truth number 1. Most people waste their time in the gym. So essentially, you don't want to be going to the gym and just waste a bunch of time there. So this will be annoying and it will feel like you wasted a load of time and then you don't want to come again. So essentially, if you learn how to optimize your time in the gym and not to waste your time, you'll have more time to spend on more important things, like for instance your business, and you can still get the same workout results. So essentially, this is the places where I see people waste their time in the gym. So the first place is being on their phones in the breaks. So a lot of people, they're staying on their phones in the breaks, they're reading news or watching TikTok or whatever, and they take some surprisingly long breaks. So personally, I've tried to do this myself a few times, and I forgot everything about the gym while I sat on my phone. So I was like completely logged in, and then suddenly I remembered, oh shit, I'm working out. So essentially this just means that you'll get way longer breaks, and you'll get breaks that are way longer than it's actually necessary to have them. So instead you should just be in the gym when you're in the gym, and then you can use your phone at home if that's what you really want to do. The second one is to have a bad workout where you just run all over the gym. So essentially what this means that you have like one machine here, and then you have one machine here, and then you have one machine here. So the machine is like all over the place. So essentially you need to take your gym split and set it up practically according to the gym. So what you can do is you can have a gym split where you have multiple different exercises that happen from the same place. For instance, you combine a bunch of bench exercises. Or what you can do, you can have exercises that's close to each other and in a practical order. So you don't have to go from places all the time. The second one is that you take one exercise and you take a long ass break. Then you take another exercise and then you take a long ass break again. So essentially I began investigating people's workout because I wanted to see what the optimal thing to do was. And what I saw was all the big dudes, they did this certain thing. They split their workouts into supersets. So essentially a superset is where you take 2 or more exercises with different muscle groups and combine them. This way you essentially need 2 exercises and 1 break rather than 1 exercise and 1 break. So essentially this will halve the amount of time you take in these different sets. So like for instance, if you only do 12 sets in one workout and you only have 1 minute of break per set, then by splitting it into supersets, you already save yourself 12 minutes of time. Brutal fitness truth number 2. Most people suck at bulking and cutting. And also a lot of people just use bulking as an excuse to eat unhealthy. So this is personally something I've been struggling a lot with. So essentially it all starts when I was young and I was an overweight kid. Then I learned more and more about cutting and decided I'd like to try it out. The only problem was I had no experience whatsoever at cutting. So essentially I just went on an extreme cut where I practically just ate salads, apples and a little bit of protein shakes. And I definitely did not get enough proteins and other important stuff to build muscles. So the problem was I became very skinny and I did not gain any muscle in this period whatsoever, even though I worked out consistently. So essentially I was a tall person, and before I began I was fairly muscular, but I cut all the way down to 67 kilos when I was on the lowest. Then I learned about bulking and decided now I want to try that out. Now I don't want to be skinny anymore. And the only problem was I heard about dirty bulking and clean bulking and I thought, I'll do dirty bulking. So essentially here I'd just come home from school and I'd eat as much unhealthy as I practically could. I'd essentially just eat loads of cake, chips, ice cream, etc. And I'd just say, oh, but I'm bulking. But essentially what I learned was, no, you're not bulking. You're using bulking as an excuse to eat unhealthy. You should never eat the things, not if you're bulking, not if you're cutting, or not if you're gaintaining. You should never eat these type of things. Instead, you need to find the sacred middle ground, which is gaintaining. Because there's not actually no reason for extreme cuts or extreme bulks. It'll just lead to you having a yo-yo weight. So essentially there'll be periods where you put maybe a little bit more muscle on, and periods where you put less muscle on. But essentially you'll get the same out of just gaintaining all the way through. Instead, you need to find the perfect amount of calories for you, and then you need to not eat these unhealthy things no matter what. And so essentially the only reason why you actually want to cut was because you were a bodybuilder and you wanted to go on a stage. Or obviously if you have very high fat percent, like over maybe 20%, then it'll still be smart for you to cut down. Brutal fitness truth number 3, you're not training hard enough. So for a very long time, I personally definitely wasn't training hard enough in the gym. I just have a certain amount of reps and a certain amount of sets I had to hit every time I worked out. So for instance, if I were to do a certain exercise, I'd just do like 16 kilos dumbbells and then I'd go 12 reps. But then I heard about training to failure and I tried to implement this in my gym programs, and I instantly got like 4 or 5 more reps per exercise because before that I hadn't pressed myself properly. So I heard this quote once that it's only the reps after the 8th rep that actually counts. And so in other words, this means that it's only the intense reps that actually counts. So a lot of people stop with the set when they hit these intense reps. They get up to like 8, 9, 10 reps and then they stop. But when you hit these intense reps, that's where the workout really only begun. Brutal fitness truth number 4. Consistency is key. Consistency is literally one of the most important things when it comes to going to the gym. Like literally, I would have gotten so much more out of my gym journey if I actually had consistency from the start, but I definitely was not. I was only really working out sometimes because my dietist told me I had to work out. But then throughout the years, I've tried to increase my consistency. And the times where I've seen the biggest improvement in my games was the times where my consistency was the highest. So here are some tips to how you can increase your consistency right now. Firstly, you need to set a certain amount of times per week you go to the gym. This doesn't have to be every single day, it just has to be a certain amount, and then you set a goal to actually reach that amount. And so if you want to increase the chance that you actually hit your goal, you need an accountability partner. And for this you can actually use my Discord server that I made to improve your consistency in the gym. And then you just need to go to the gym no matter what. So if you set a goal to go 5 days, you go 5 days. So if there's for instance arm day and your wrist hurts, well, then you need to go anyways. But definitely you should never train a bad joint. Then you should just train them up with using resistance band or something else. And if you can't even do that, you can just train cardio or something else. Just go no matter what. Then essentially you need to reward yourself and track the process. So here you need a habit tracker. And so essentially having a habit tracker can help you so much with staying consistent. So you can either get a digital habits tracker, which is just an app such as Habits, or you can make one of paper yourself and hang on your wall. Also, every time you see this habit tracker, you'll be reminded to hit your goals. And so what you can also do is you can reward yourself every time you do it. But you obviously don't want to reward yourself with something that goes against your gym progress, like a piece of cake. But what you can do is you can reward yourself with something that helps you in your gym journey. For instance, every time you go to a gym, you can reward yourself with a protein shake or an amino acid shake. The next tip is to do it at a certain time. So essentially, if you had a set time to go to a gym, all you need to do is to go at that time. So this makes it so much easier than have to motivate yourself and pull yourself up. And you'll just be like, okay, I'll just do it later. But instead, if you have a set time, you can't say, I'll just do it later. Then you go when it hits the time. And so for this reason, a gym buddy can help. Because then you don't want to just say, nah, I'll just do it later. Or just going to the gym with somebody, even though you're not working out, just going together can motivate you to go there as well. And so you also need to make the process of going there easier. And the way you can do this is that you take all the stuff you need to go to the gym and you pack it before you have to go. So you pack everything in advance. That way, when you need to go, all you need to go is to take your bag and to go. You don't need to pack everything or anything, you just need to take it and go. And then you actually need to enjoy the workout, which is the next truth. Brutal fitness truth number 5. You should enjoy going to the gym. The most important thing of working out is actually enjoying going there and enjoying the process of working out. And also that you enjoy your gym splits. So essentially, this is where you get the most results after working out. It's when you enjoy the process and you enjoy the suffering. When you enjoy the suffering, you'll automatically work out more and suffer more, which means you will work harder. So what you need to do is you need to find a type of workout that you actually enjoy and like doing. This could be bodybuilding, powerlifting, calisthenics, cardio, high intensity interval training, CrossFit, circles training, other types of team training or anything else. Also, if you want to increase the enjoyment of going to a gym, you should try to go with somebody else in the gym. So if you haven't done this before, you'll probably cope and say, oh, but I'd rather go alone. So you just need to try this a few times and see would I actually prefer going with somebody in the gym. And this will also help increasing your motivation to go to the gym. What you could also do is you could begin training on a team. This can also increase your motivation and you'll also be working out harder because you compete with so many people. But essentially the greatest tip is to remember the more you go, the more you'll begin liking it. So when I began in the gym, I actually hated going to the gym. I literally only went because I had to do it. And so essentially the result of only going because you have to do it is that you'll put minimal effort into the workout. But I just kept doing it year after year and eventually I started to enjoy it. So essentially, since it's just a hobby to most people, you need to find a way to do it that you actually enjoy doing. And then you just need to do it over and over and enjoy the work. Brutal fitness truth number 6. Heavier weight doesn't mean better. So a common mistake in the fitness niche is that the heavier weights the better. And you also see this when people ask, oh, how much do you lift, how much do you bench press, etc. But they don't ask, oh, how perfect is your form? So a lot of people, they give this mentality that weight is the only important measurement, but technique will always be more important than weight. And this is just an important thing you need to know about working out. But it can feel hard to go low weight on a certain exercise because technically you could go higher weight, but you wouldn't have half as good form. But here's what I tell myself every time I want to go heavier, just for like ego lifting. I tell myself, would you rather look good lifting heavier weights that you can actually lift for 1 hour in the gym, or look good having a nice aesthetic physique 24 hours of the day? And that's why technique is more important than anything. Technique is more important than the amount of reps, the amount of sets, or the amount of weight. And you might wonder, how can you improve your technique? And you can do that multiple things. You can do that by checking different YouTube videos and just seeing and learning and trying over and over again. You can also look at what the bigger dudes in the gym do, and maybe you can even ask them for help. And also you can, for instance, go into a community, post a video of yourself and ask for help on how you can improve your technique. Personal fitness truth number 7. You suck at warming up and stretching out. So essentially the last truth of this video is that most people suck at warming up and stretching out after a workout. So this is especially a problem if you work out alone. So if you're on a team, maybe it won't be a problem because you all stretch out, but if you go there alone, you'll most likely forget to do it. And I think especially it's a problem with younger people that they don't want to do it. Maybe they'll even feel embarrassed to do it, but it can actually be really good to avoid injuries. So personally, I've had a lot of injuries, so I always warm up to avoid the pain. So how to warm up? Well, firstly, you need to make sure your muscles are actually warm, and you can do that by wearing, for instance, a sweater, a hoodie, or wearing like big pants or something. Then when you come to gym, you need to warm up depending on what exercise you need to do the day. So the idea is that when you warm up, you need to do things where you're moving the muscles rather than just stretching. And so I think that one of the best ways to do this is to use resistance bands, and this is what I personally do every time I go to a gym. This also would help preventing injuries and to train up after injuries. Although if it's leg day, I'd rather go on a stationary bike for a few minutes. How to stretch out? So essentially, after you work out, you just need to do a few different stretches that hits the muscle groups that you trained, and you need to make sure that they hit really good. And so it's better to hit them for a longer amount of time with a shorter amount of exercises, so like 1 minute per stretch. And that's essentially all the brutal fitness advice I've gotten over the 7 years of working out. If you like this video and you'd like to see more, you can subscribe right now, and you can also join my community for completely free, link in the description.